All right, what is going on, you guys? It is Jake here, bringing you guys something a little bit different, something that I think is going to be something fun to take to the YouTube space here that we've been expanding into here at BaltimoreBeatdown.com. Something that I've kind of really wanted to do for a while, and something that I think I've tinkered with for a while, and that is kind of getting involved in the Madden space and kind of having fun messing around on Madden, having fun sharing it with you guys on YouTube. It's something, like I said, that I've messed around with, whether it be the simulation write-ups that I would do like way back in the day, like years ago, or doing stuff like streaming it on Twitch, which I've done a little bit more recently, pretty sparingly though. Like, I haven't dove all the way and really sunk my teeth into it, or sunk my teeth into really anything with Madden, even though I feel like it's kind of a fun space. And I think part of the reason I haven't really dove all the way in recent years is probably due to the fact that Madden just kind of hasn't been the best product, frankly. That's probably even being maybe a little bit too kind with it. I think franchise in particular, which is like my main beat and something I've always wanted to do something with, just kind of hasn't been up to snuff. And this year's edition, Madden 22, I have some issues with it, but I do think, and I do want to say off the top here, that I do think some of the changes they've made to franchise, I think, are pretty significant, even if they don't show up like right away, right out of the gate, kind of smack you in the face as something that's like, oh wow, this is really something different and something cool. There's a lot of kind of smaller nuances to it that I've enjoyed with it so far. So in playing it over the last couple of days, I was like, well, okay, maybe this is kind of the perfect opportunity to jump into this space and kind of take something to the YouTube space that we've been expanding into with the site. So decided that I was going to go ahead and start up a franchise mode, and I'm going to do it a little bit differently than I've done in the past, where I mentioned that some of the stuff that I've done with Madden, it's usually just like a weekly like simulation prediction type thing that's kind of tethered to the Ravens in the regular season. This is kind of going to be its own thing. So what I did was I went in here, created my own custom version of myself, as you saw there earlier, and basically I guess we're just going to go with the storyline that John Harbaugh, he recently set his own record for all-time preseason wins, 19 in a row. So let's just say he picked up his ball and he went home with the all-time record there and just retired on the spot. They needed a new coach, so they turned to let's just say it, a podcaster, a blogger, somebody who is kind of on the fringe space. That's me. They turned to me, they hired me, so this is basically how I would approach things. It's not really like super hardcore realistic, like what would the Ravens actually do. I think there's going to be some of that. I think with some of the players you're seeing that I'm kind of cutting here, like for example, I got rid of Miles Boykin out of the wide receiver room. Like if this were like me in Madden, I probably would have hung on to him, but I do want to kind of toe the line there where it's somewhat realistic with the players that are going to be coming into the regular season with sort of my approach to it, sort of a blend of those two things. As you see me up at the podium there, just looking absolutely amazing. Talking about opening day against the Las Vegas Raiders. So I'm going to be simming through the preseason here, I think, as you've kind of seen with some of the B-roll, and just kind of jumping right into the regular season and showing you guys some of the strategy I think is going to be part of the fun. So we're going to see how much of that we actually do. I kind of am familiarizing myself with the systems on this edition of Madden. There's kind of a lot of them. Like I said, there's more than I was maybe even expecting, and there's going to be more with the scouting and one of the first big updates they released. That's not even out yet. So speaking of like new features here, you see like the offensive and defensive coordinators, Lamont Booker, Patrick Bailey. I guess those are your stand-ins for Greg Roman and Wink Martindale, and these are kind of the trees that you can toy around with. I've started a few franchises and like restarted them to sort of get a feel for like what we're working with. And yeah, you got these like skill trees, basically just like an RPG type situation where if you've played a game like F1 2020 or 2021, for example, like this, it kind of looks a lot like how you mess around with like your car and your R&D departments. That's sort of what the offensive and defensive coordinator function with Madden 22 appears to be. So there's some systems that are a lot more in-depth than last year, and like it's definitely not a perfect game. Like it's still Madden, and there's still some issues, some gameplay issues, some logic issues, just some weird stuff. But overall, I think I'm a lot more impressed with it than I expected. So it's been fun, and that's why I wanted to jump in here and do this with me sort of taking over and putting my own spin on what the Ravens franchise should look like as myself. And this is just kind of a standalone sort of a YouTube feature for you guys to follow along with or not follow along with if you want, if you're entertained by it. You can get at me on Twitter at Jake Luke to kind of discuss a little bit with where I'm going with it, because I'm having a lot of fun. I think I'm going to try and make this thing a long-term thing. I'm like a couple games into it at this point, so I'm in the editing bay with the video side of it. As you can see here, me jumping around in some of the other new features, which is like strategy. You can like game plan week by week for your opponents. So obviously week 1, it's the Raiders, and it'll say like, okay, like focus on doing X, Y, or Z in the offense or the defense. What strategy do you want to employ? And you get certain like ratings boosts based upon what you pick. So you kind of are rewarded for sticking to that strategy, which is kind of cool. So yeah, it's certainly not perfect. There's certainly plenty of issues with it, but it's been more fun than I expected. And so decided to jump in and start up my own franchise. And I figured, why not put it on YouTube and give you guys something fun to watch? So here we go, jumping into week 1. Like I said, made some relatively significant cuts. Like I got rid of some of the young offensive linemen. I might have practice squatted like Ben Bredesen, who I think there's a danger of him getting signed away, for example, because you can't like, you can protect 4 people in the practice squad in real life, but I don't think you can do that in the game. So like guys are going to get signed off of that, young guys, exciting guys, because this is honestly a pretty deep roster. And there are going to be guys that are going to have potential to get poached off the practice squad to begin with in real life. So with no protections in the game, that's definitely going to be happening. So week 1, we're entering without Miles Boykin. Quick note on some of the injuries, like you're going to see Bateman playing early. You're going to see LJ Fort, who actually just suffered an ACL and is probably going to be out for the year, they're saying. So like they're going to be in it. And like I said, it's not going to be 100% realistic. Rather, it's going to be more like a melding of the realistic and what you're seeing right now as we start the regular season, and sort of more of it being my own thing and just sort of an entertainment product. And it's probably as we go along with it, like I said, I'm going to take my own approach. I don't know if I'm going to be importing draft classes even. Eventually, I think it's just going to kind of morph into its own thing and just kind of be sort of a for fun side project that hopefully you guys enjoy. But yeah, here we go. Kicking off the first game, you got Duvernay back there to return. Pat Ricard in front of him, and he's going to get out to about the 27-yard line, so a little bit better than a touchback there, as you see my coach just absolutely all fired up on the sideline as Lamar Jackson runs out onto the field. Overall of 92, I don't know exactly where he's rated amongst quarterbacks in the games, but it's pretty high. And so like I think there was probably some people who, as you see Hollywood's 5 there, some people thought he was maybe a little bit disrespected, but I thought he was right around correct there as he runs into Al Villanueva and gets sacked by Max Crosby to start the season off. Kind of a tough look. But here we go, little read option keeper. He's going to beat a bunch of Raiders to the edge, and on the second play, he's going to pick up 24 yards on the ground with a little run. So Lamar off to a nice start. Coming out of the pistol here, going to check it off to J.K. Dobbins there on the right, who tries to lean in and put that shoulder down to pick up the first, but he doesn't. But now into Raiders territory at the 47 as he now turns around and gives this one to Dobbins out of the pistol. Runs this one well into Justin Tucker range at the 42. Go to the pistol, play action, and he's going to hit Pat Ricard on the right, another little dump off. So I think the short passing game thing is sort of paying dividends for them so far as he takes it out of the empty and is going to attempt to do a little QB draw here like we saw in the home loss to the Steelers last year on 4th down, unfortunately. Sorry to call back to that, but he gets stopped there. He gets stopped on a read option, and that is going to send out Mr. Automatic, Justin Tucker. JT, good from 56 to open the Ravens account at 3-0. And speaking of JT, kicks this one away. And now we're going to get a look at Derek Carr, everyone's favorite. Derek Carr, a guy who gets dumped on a lot. I think he's like a pretty good quarterback, but they're just kind of in a weird spot where it kind of feels like with Alex Smith back in the day. No disrespect to Alex Smith, who obviously has been through a lot, but sort of retrospective on his career was like, man, this guy's good, but it just always feels like you can do a little bit better. Kind of feels that way with the Raiders and Derek Carr now. And it's felt that way with them, with the way that they've sort of flirted with the idea of getting a new quarterback. They flirted with the idea of, like, I think Kyler Murray and like some different draft quarterbacks over the years. All the while, Derek Carr has just been there since 2014 and been pretty solid. He's been to the playoffs, I think, a few times, maybe only once, but he was flirting with an MVP there in 2016, and now it's just kind of like, man, this guy is just sort of hanging on for his life for a long-term spot in Las Vegas, where they've obviously recently moved. But here he is moving the offense pretty well here. It's Darren Waller there, who we're all very familiar with, former Raven, now converted to tight end, picks up a first down. So after that nice completion of Waller, he's going to throw into the slot here to Hunter Renfrow. Made headlines recently for some pretty sick comments about being able to beat Jalen Ramsey, meaning he can beat anyone one-on-one, which was pretty interesting from a guy like Hunter Renfrow, who, listen, he's earned his respect. He had the game-winning touchdown in the national championship several years ago for Clemson, and he's carved out a pretty nice career here in the NFL as Deshaun Elliott makes a huge stop there on third down. See him coming downhill, doing what he loves to do, getting right up in Josh Jacobs' grill. And that's going to send out Daniel Carlson, kicker for the Raiders, to boot this one through and tie it up 3-3. So here we are, week one, opening quarter, doing 8-minute quarters here, just so you guys know. Set that up in franchise settings. I think it's a little bit better than 6 minutes. The 6-minute games just kind of feel a little too quick for me, so I went ahead and did 8. And hopefully that makes a good product here as Duvernay takes this one out again, this time to the 29. Looks like he might have got nicked up there, grabbing for that right glute, as it were, as they open up with Dobbins on the ground to bring up 2nd and 5, going out of the pistol again. And it's Dobbins again. He's going to get forward. Now up to the 38-yard line, and that's going to be a 3rd and short as we close out the quarter. And it looks like it is going to be a pulled hamstring for Duvernay. But I think he's going to remain in the game as they go to Gus Edwards on 3rd and short to pick that thing up, as he is wont to do. The Bus loves picking up first downs when there's not too much space to go, as Lamar carries this one now, and it's just turning into a little bit of a ground and pound show. And now a little play action. Lamar's going to throw this time to Mark Andrews deep into Raider territory. He converts. Lamar now perfect 3 for 3, and Andrews signals for that first down. Really baited them into that one. A lot of running and then play action as he throws to Pat Ricard. Going quickly now to pick up that first down. Lamar 4 for 4. Gives this one to Dobbins. Going really quickly. Who has 21 yards on the ground now. Play action after a Dobbins fake. He is going to take this one. And does Jackson get the first? He does not. So who does he call on? Gus the Bus. Pick up the first down. And this has just been a textbook Ravens at their best drive here as they go to Gus again inside the 5, and he plunges in to the end zone for the Ravens' first touchdown of the year. And first under head coach Jake Luke. That's huge. So Gus hits pay dirt for them. So 10-3 Ravens on the road here in week 1. And that is LJ Fort. Like I said, you're going to be seeing him in this season because can't really fake injuries too well. It's just kind of is what it is. So like I said, you'll see him, you'll see Bateman, some of these guys. And there will be different injuries too that come up in the franchise. So other guys will be getting hurt. And like I said, it's not going to be a 1-to-1 sort of facsimile of what you're seeing in real life. It's going to be kind of its own thing. So now you've got the Raiders offense on the move again. Carr getting all sorts of guys involved and just not missing. I think that says he's 6 for 6. That's the interesting thing about all Madden that I've noticed so far is guys just if you set up to stop a certain strategy, they'll just take what you give them pretty much as we hit the 2-minute warning there. Ravens up 10-3, 2-minute warning in the first half, but they'll take what you give them. And if you're basically setting up to stop X, Y, or Z, they'll do Z, Y, and X in that order, and they'll pretty much just be, smart AI and do what they have to do. And it really shows here with a guy like Derek Carr who, as there's a fumble from, I believe is that Kenyon Drake? Not sure who that is on the Raiders. I don't even know if he's on the Raiders, actually. Probably should do my research on that, but looks like he coughed one up, but they are going to go ahead and do a little booth review on that as the ref signal for it. It looked like he probably had that knee down, so yeah, it looks like he's definitely going to be down there. So, or I think so. It depends on where that knee was, but I also don't know how the logic of these refs work. But as I was saying, they'll take what you give them, and Derek Carr being 10 for 10 or whatever at this point is a pretty big indicator of that, in my opinion. Just the fact that he's probably being the ideal version of what Derek Carr would be in real life, just kind of checking the ball down, paper cut offense, and doing what he has to do to move the ball, but not hitting anything spectacular. But speaking of which, goes to his left. and he hits Henry Ruggs III, wearing number 11 there for the touchdown. So after the extra point, it is all tied up 10-10. 48 seconds to go in the half. We'll see what the Ravens try to do. It might depend on this Duvernay kick return after he came back from that little hamstring nick that he suffered earlier. And it looks like they are going to try to do something here in the way of a little screen pass to J.K. Dobbins, who doesn't get the best blocking, but he gets forward to the 44-yard line. So Ravens definitely have something to think about now as Justin Tucker, or 34-yard line, excuse me, as Justin Tucker is one of the best kickers in the league, but it doesn't matter because Lamar throws to his left, gets picked off. I believe that's Corey Littleton, the linebacker. So kind of a tough throw by Lamar. He kind of tried to force it to Hollywood Brown. Reminiscent of what he's done against the Steelers, I think the last couple years, actually, weirdly. Like before the half, trying to force something, throws to his left, and just gets picked off, and an unnecessary mistake that is probably going to cost the Ravens the lead here. And it 100% is, as Carr throws to his left to I think that's John Brown, actually, the former Raven, for the touchdown. He signed with Las Vegas, this past season. So a really costly mistake there from Jackson is going to send the Ravens into the locker room down 17-10. They were up 10-3, pretty much right around the 2-minute warning, I think. So yeah, they're going to give this one to Dobbins, and that will run the clock out on the half. So going into the locker room, 17-10. Raiders up on the Ravens. Probably not what the Ravens were necessarily expecting there, but that's how quickly the game can turn if you give up the ball unnecessarily, which Jackson just did. It's not something we're accustomed to seeing from him at all. But in the games where he does do that, it does, tend to cost him, i.e. against the Steelers, a team that he has sort of a tough record against. It seems like he's good against pretty much everyone else in the league except for the Steelers, maybe the Chiefs. And, just sort of a costly mistake there. But taking a look around the league, looks like Cleveland getting a big win at Kansas City, 30-24. That's, man, I can't imagine what's going to happen in Cleveland if that happens to open the year after their playoff loss. Looks like Pittsburgh got the W over Buffalo 24-7, which is a really big win for the Steelers, actually. So looks like those two teams are going to be hot to trot here in the AFC North, and it's going to be a tough battle. I think it was already going to be, and it is going to be in real life, I should say. But yeah, the game just kind of confirming that as they go back to Josh Jacobs on the ground. Don't get much. Now they go back to the air here. Throwing to, I think that's Foster Moreau, the tight end. And a 3rd and 6 for Carr. And another, just these little quick hitters, man. They'll really kill you. And I try to call plays to neutralize that, but I think when you have a certain approach on, the computer just kind of knows. And I really should say John Gruden kind of knows, in this crack coaching staff that the Raiders have. They just kind of know what they have to do. And Derek Carr knows what he has to do as he throws to John Brown again, who looks like he got the best of Marcus Peters there, who was trying to go for the interception, does not quite work out, and Brown just gets free for the 50-yard touchdown. Don't know what happened there. Looks like they were trying to do a pick play, but it almost looks like the Raiders' one receiver actually accidentally picked John Brown. But he gets himself free regardless. And Ravens go back to Edwards on the ground here. Now they go back to Jackson, who actually breaks free up to around the 50-yard line. So in spite of what's been going on here, they're moving the ball a little bit. But yeah, it looks like Ravens going to remain on the ground here. They really have to make something happen to get back into this one. It looks like they're going to get it with J.K. Dobbins breaking free into the Raiders' half. It is his 10th career rushing touchdown. Not something that I probably would have been able to tell you off the dome there, but thank you to Madden for supplying that graphic. Great job by J.K. there. Makes it 24-17. And good job by Greg Roman to stick to the run game, or Lamont Session or something like that as the offensive coordinator. Probably should know the guy's name at this point, but yeah, the offensive coordinator who we'll figure it out. But yeah, a great job by him to stick to the run game and keep things rolling here as Carr loads up and goes deep. And are they going to get Chuck Clark for a PI there on the John Brown catch? No, they're going to say illegal touching on John Brown on the offense, as you see Marlon Humphrey kind of run him out of bounds there before he gets downfield to go up and make that big catch on Clark. So Ravens obviously going to accept that penalty, and they're going to get the ball back here with plenty of time to make something happen. Duvernay takes the ball up into the 37-yard line, so Ravens going to take over there. 25 yards per return for him, so pretty nice as they go back to Dobbins on the ground after that huge play earlier to score the touchdown. Back to Lamar on the ground here. Is he going to beat 91 to the edge? He is. Get tackled there by the defensive back, but picks up the first down. And Lamar having a nice day on the ground here. 7 rushes, 65 yards. If J.K. hadn't just broken that big run, I think Lamar would be the leading rusher as they now go into the I formation. Usually you tell they're going to the bus, and yes, they are. Gus Edwards takes them a little bit further into Raider territory there as Mark Andrews picks up an injury, so we're going to have to see what happens there. A crucial piece of this passing game. Having kind of a quiet night so far other than one big catch, but Jackson takes the handoff there, and now he's going to scramble for this one, get down, and it looks like he's in the zone. So he's going to have his zone capabilities active, and yep, it is going to be an upper arm fracture for Mark Andrews. So not what you want to hear. Certainly not going to be coming back for this game, and we're going to see what happens for his status moving forward. But regardless, Ravens have a game to get back into, and get back into it they are as Jackson runs another one into Raider territory, now at 82 yards on the ground in the I formation, going to Edwards again, and he's just going to plow forward and do just enough to get that first down, 22 yards and a touchdown to his account tonight. As they are in the shotgun here, Jackson going to give to Dobbins, who's going to get forward. 2nd and 4 now, and they're going to go back to Edwards on the ground. And he's going to bring up 3rd and short as we head into the 4th quarter. Hold your 4s up. 3rd and 2. Lamar is going to keep this one off of the read option, and now he's within the 10-yard line, so you're going to have a 1st and goal from about the 6. Clock ticking into the 7-minute mark. Turn around, give to Edwards, and he's going to walk this one in. It's so much fun playing with this Ravens running game sometimes, especially with Gus. He's just really fun to control because it just feels like he's, a bus, for lack of a better word, and, at the risk of sounding cute. But a nice spike there. Gus the bust with another touchdown, ties this one up, 24-24. And here come the Raiders. Calais Campbell kind of getting up into Carr's grill there, but Derek Carr just not missing tonight. 3 touchdowns. I don't think he has an incompletion yet. And just absolutely carving things up underneath. Throws again, and there's his first incompletion. Patrick Queen had the ball right on his hands and just couldn't haul it in. But the Ravens defense certainly starting to bring some pressure here as he dumps off to... I don't know if that's the fullback there of the Raiders, but he just absolutely made Chuck Clark, I think, fall out of his shoes. Carr again throwing this time to Brown, but Marlon Humphrey got a paw in there and knocked it out. 2nd and 10. Throws this one complete. I think that's Kenyon Drake. I'm going to look that up real quick, actually. But, Raiders still moving. Derek Carr going to do a little flip pass to Darren Waller. Interesting play call there. Didn't really go anywhere. That is Kenyon Drake. So glad to be informed here as your announcer. But whatever. I'm just the head coach / announcer. It's not like I should know the names of the opponent players. And so Derek Carr's starting to cool down a little bit here. But, oh, man, Chuck Clark just whiffs big time on a Josh Jacobs run to the right out of the single back on 3rd and 10. Derek Carr was finally starting to slow down. He had some incompletions on this drive after not having one all night. And Josh Jacobs just freaking runs over Chuck Clark. That was a miserable attempt at a tackle there. Had him dead to rights, and he just gets posterized as the Raiders go up 31-24. So now the Ravens going back to Edwards on the ground. Not freaking out, not giving up on the run game, which is nice to see. Pass game goes to Nick Boyle there, and Mark Andrews is out. So he's going to need to, Boyle's going to need to step up. Josh Oliver going to need to step up. A little non-contact injury there for Kevin Zeitler. Hopefully he's okay. Another short pass here to J.K. Dobbins, and I think it's Lamont Booker is the offense coordinator. Right? Lamont Session, I don't know where that came from. A little pop pass to Sammy Watkins, former AFC West gentleman. Kevin Zeitler's going to be okay. Former AFC West competitor, and Sammy Watkins there spent a lot of time with the Chiefs, so he knows the Raiders pretty well. Had a quiet night so far, but he just picked up that first down, and the Ravens had an incompletion on 2nd, but here goes Dobbins. Huge run and having a huge night. down to the 32-yard line of the Raiders, 2 yards after contact. Jackson going to tuck this one and kind of indecisive on whether he was going to run that one or try to make the throw to, I think that was maybe Watkins or Bateman streaking across the left side of the screen there, but just couldn't make it happen, as it looks like they're showing screen here to Dobbins, sets it up, makes the throw, and Dobbins he couldn't quite get to that second gear, but he does manage to shake himself out of the contact and get forward here. Pretty pedestrian night passing for Lamar so far. He's done a good job on the ground, as have the Ravens in general, so hasn't really mattered too much, but not necessarily the passing output you'd want to see, especially for a guy like Lamar who really does take pride in his passing abilities. But again, output doesn't matter. Efficiency matters. So looks like they're going to run this one down as the clock ticks down. Probably a little bit of gamesmanship and try to score and force overtime as opposed to give the Raiders time to get the ball back. So, yep, going to turn around and give it to Edwards, who, again, just does not go down on first contact. He just feels like he's falling forward sometimes. Jackson, he's going to step up and run this one, and he is going to jump over the goal line for the touchdown, the tying touchdown with 29 seconds to go. Is that too much time for the Raiders? Who knows, but you'd rather score than not. And just no indecision from Jackson, just tucks it and runs on what was set up as a passing play. Scores 31-31, and here come the Raiders with a little end around to Hunter Renfrow, who doesn't go down. Now he does. Raiders call timeout. Still moving. Calais Campbell just cannot get out of the blocks there. Dumps this one off to Kenyon Drake. He's brought down well within play, so the Raiders kind of misplaying this a little bit. They're not really trying to get to the sideline, having to chew up some timeouts. Darren Waller makes Patrick Queen miss pretty nicely there, and they're into Ravens territory, so they have a chance, but I don't know what happened there. I don't know if Gruden just kind of had like some kind of football guy-related seizure, but really not paying attention, kind of asleep at the wheel there. So with a timeout in their pocket, they kind of just let the clock run down. And, that's going to force overtime. So week 1, Ravens back in action, and they're already in overtime, already playing in a little bit of a nail-biter. The Cardiac Kids are back at it. And let's take a look at this coin toss. Looks like the Raiders are going to receive as JT boots it away to Kenyon Drake, who is just going to take a knee here in the end zone. And overtime rules, as we know, if the Raiders score a touchdown here, they win. If they kick a field goal, the Ravens are going to have a chance to answer. And if the Ravens stop the Raiders, get the ball back, and drive down and kick a field goal, then they win. It's sudden death rules after 2 possessions have been played out, as you got a 2nd and inches here. Another, they tried to get cute again with a little Ruggs end around. That doesn't go anywhere. And now you got 3rd and 1. Jacobs in there, and he gets stuffed too. So that's going to bring up 4th and 1. Huge job by this Ravens defense to come up big on the first possession of overtime. They force a 3 and out, I believe. Now the Raiders are going to have to punt away, and Ravens, depending on this punt, Duvernay takes it. Doesn't really go much of anywhere, but he's at the 26, 3:52 left in the game. Ravens going to have plenty of opportunity to go and win this one. So just a brutal sequence for John Gruden there. Not taking the timeout and, trying to go for that field goal to win it in regulation, and then just sort of misplaying his hand there as Hollywood Brown gets involved, I think for the first time tonight, to make it a 3rd and 1, and J.K. Dobbins. Did the Ravens misplay this thing? Now they bring up a 4th and 2, but following in John Harbaugh's footsteps, dialed it up on 4th down, and who do I go to? Mr. Gus Edwards, the guy that's been money all night, and looks like he's going to get swallowed up for maybe a second, but he just falls forward to the 46-yard line, 10 yards after contact for Gus tonight. And that is going to be the ballsy call on 4th down that one of these teams needed to make to walk out of here with a win maybe. So Ravens driving, 2-minute warning in overtime, 2nd and 9, go to Edwards again, and he has got plenty of daylight to push into Raider territory. 3rd and 1, go to him again, why not? He's down at the 39-yard line. Go to him again. Why not? Down to the 30-yard line. So this is just all Gus at this point. Keep going to him. Basically that as he picks up an injury there. So that's tough. But, that's kind of that Raven strategy, right, is sort of don't go to Gus too much. He was kind of just the goal line vulture all game. Looks like he's got bruised ribs, so he'll be fine. But we're not going to risk it. We're just going to put J.K. Dobbins in there to close this thing out. But man, Gus is awesome. He's that closer for you. He's that guy you need with fresh legs late on in the game to show up for you. And boy, did he. Really driving the Ravens forward, as is the offensive line, which, they've received their fair share of criticism in real life with, both facets of the run game and the pass game, but they really showed up there, pushed the Ravens all the way down to the 7-yard line for what's going to be a chip shot for Justin Tucker. I mean, anything is a chip shot for this guy, but 7-yard line, John Gruden can try to ice him all he wants, but no doubt about it, 34-31 as overtime ends. Ravens get their first win of the year. Raiders walking away disappointed, but they played a pretty competitive game. I mean, a lot of people are penciling the Ravens in to go and get this thing done in real life, and I think in the game as well. They were probably expected to win this thing, but you look at some of the screenshots here, it was just kind of a ground and pound night. Lamar Jackson didn't do a ton through the air. He scored the equalizing touchdown there with his legs, so plenty with the legs, 311 yards on the ground. Lamar only threw for 104. He had that bad interception to Corey Littleton that really could have been super costly for the Ravens, but they kind of stayed patient with it, hung around. And listen, I got to give myself credit here as the head coach. I hung around. Could have started forcing the pass, but I didn't. As you see, Derek Carr and the boys walking off the field pretty disappointed with themselves, and well, they should be. They lose the first game of the season, 34-31, and just a couple post-game things, a couple guys up for upgrades, so just kind of let them do so at their own discretion. Mark Andrews going to be out 4 weeks, so I think that's going to translate to 3 once we get into the next week. That first week is kind of eliminated, so probably going to be a 3-week injury for him there. An opportunity to involve Nick Boyle a little bit, involve Josh Oliver a little bit in the passing game, who we didn't see, anything from, but yeah, I mean, that's going to close it out. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you were entertained. I know it was a pretty entertaining game. It was really fun to play. Got a couple more of these games in the can already. Got week 2 versus the Chiefs, week 3 versus the Lions, week 4 versus the Broncos, sort of already ready to hit the editing bay. So it's been a ton of fun to play these, and it's been fun putting this first one together. So I'm excited to hop back in the lab, start putting the next couple of editions of this thing together, episodes together, and I hope you guys enjoy. Hang around for this thing with the long haul, and hit me up on Twitter at Jake Luke. That is LOUQUE. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you got any suggestions or any ideas on what I could do to spruce these things up, I should say, make it maybe more of a viewer experience, make it maybe a little bit more interactive for you guys. Let me know what you want to see, and I will incorporate them. Like I said, I want to keep it pretty casual and not too much, put too much pressure on like what this thing is supposed to be or like what it's going to be, or not like try to go too overboard realistic or be too like crazy wonky with it. Kind of just want it to be a casual fun thing for me to have on the side and maybe for us to share together. So like I said, hope you guys enjoy. Get at me on Twitter at Jake Luke, and let me know what you think, and we'll take it from there. Later.